What's up, everybody? This is Steve Butts here, Hobbit fan. I'm joined by fellow Lord of the Rings file, Sam Claiborne. Hi,
My dear Steve Butts. It's Bilbo's first line.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So here we are. We just got a look at the new LEGO The Hobbit game trailer today, and we're going to rewind it for you. Go through and spot some secrets here.
Yeah, we are. You'll notice that these are almost shot for shot done from The Hobbit. I mean, it's really funny, but of course LEGO games always add their little twist to them, and usually people don't talk. So one thing you'll notice about this trailer right off the bat is that they are using dialogue from the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something that Traveler's Tales has started doing recently with some of their licensed properties, and at first people were a little confused by it and a little annoyed, but I've really grown to like it. I enjoyed it a lot in these games, in LEGO Marvel, for example, and in the case of LEGO Lord of the Rings and LEGO The Hobbit, it sounds like they're using just line-for-line dialogue straight from the movie.
Yeah,
nice.
They certainly are, but you can see that things are diverging right away. I mean,
Right.
in most of there's several scenes in under the troll cave where the goblin cave where Bilbo is just hanging out with this goblin, and we'll see a lot more of that goblin. You see Sting is glowing there. I wish my Lego Sting glowed. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever?
Yeah, so for those of you who have experienced a lot of the Traveler's Tales LEGO games, you kind of know how this works, but Lord of the Rings introduced a new sort of equipment mechanic. So instead of just having a character that's armed with a couple of different powers, now you can equip characters with different items, and that will allow them to access different areas of the map.
I'm wondering, are those
puzzles.
items, do you think they're going to be like the actual dwarven weapons? Because they each have unique weapons in the movies. You know, they're very, very different from one another. So
yeah, so I mean that's the way it worked in LEGO Lord of the Rings. Sam, for example, when he fought with a frying pan, and Aragorn fought with a sword, of course. But you could swap things as well. So Boromir's sword was not the same as Aragorn's sword. It wasn't the same as Sting, even though mechanically they provided the similar sort of benefit.
So you notice Gandalf doesn't have Glamdring here yet, but maybe when he will, that'll be one of his powers along with that wand that casts light, or his staff.
Yeah,
look how great this looks.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Isn't that neat?
And what I'm excited about is
Lego skeletons. Is that what you're going to say?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Look at him. Look at the Lego skull.
Is the prospect of having sort of an overland journey. LEGO Lord of the Rings was sort of famous for popularizing this idea of the open world, go anywhere, do whichever you want to do in the LEGO games.
Yeah.
Similar sort of thing with Batman 2 and obviously with the recent LEGO Marvel. But this is a game about a journey, so it makes sense. And you even notice at the very beginning of this thing, it sort of pans across a map, and it shows you all the lands. It's weird. It starts off in Mordor, which doesn't really factor into the Hobbit story, but you go by Mirkwood there, and you can imagine that the characters, as they play through this game, you're going to be able to take this journey.
They cross
the
river Lego there, and they make their way into Mirkwood. So I noticed that, and what I was talking about earlier is we were at the part where Bilbo's, look at him, he's just buddies with this this goblin here. But there's Gollum in the background. I like the troll horde with the. But I notice it's very strange what they choose to make Legos and what they don't make into Legos. Because I remember there being Lego gold things when I was playing with Legos, and now they're making those like game graphics. Which
I think so. What I've heard from the developers at the studio, and this is not specifically for this project, but when I asked them about the original LEGO Lord of the Rings, they said that their philosophy is to make something Lego if you can interact with it.
Great.
And if not, just make it part of the background and give it a sort of more natural appearance.
So you can see that treasure chest back there is Lego.
Yeah, so maybe you'll be able to interact with that in the game.
Look at this Gollum model. It's so great.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I'm excited about, obviously, there's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Warg here.
Yeah, I believe that was my jokes.
Totally
looking at the script here. Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, so you and I, we just came back from seeing The Desolation of Smaug last week. And one thing that movie does that the books don't do is it tells the story of people on separate paths, right? So in the original Lord of the Rings novels, of course, at some point Frodo and Sam break off from the Fellowship, and Merry and Pippin are off doing their own thing. And in the LEGO Lord of the Rings game, you get to a point in the Two Towers chapter of that game where you can decide, do I want to follow Frodo and Sam on their journey, or do I want to be with Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas?
Right.
And given that The Desolation of Smaug actually includes a substantial part where Gandalf splits off from the group of dwarves, I imagine that'll be part of this game as well. So Gandalf will have his own section.
And we see the very un-Legoed Dol Guldur right here. But yeah, this is where Gandalf would go. There's somebody on the bridge there, but I can't tell who it is.
Yeah, in the movie, the characters who go there are Radagast and Gandalf. Radagast leaves, of course, but in a co-op experience, I could totally see him being part of that.
I like
that
this.
adventure as well.
So here's a little Lego joke here. This is Thorin fighting
Azog.
Azog, yeah, and he has this oaken shield, which is awesome looking. I love that little Lego thing. But then he cuts off his hand there. It's in the background, he goes after it. It's pretty great. Probably the goriest thing that's ever happened in a Lego game.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there's little horse skeletons around the trolls here while they're cooking on the campfire.
What do you think is stuck to Bilbo in this scene?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been so long since I saw the first movie.
The answer is choking hazards.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, I love this little bit with Thorin here. So that's obviously a little bit of a prequel to the experience that we're getting in The Hobbit.
Yeah, Thorin is a young man, and we actually see Thror later. Here's the scene in Riddles of the Dark, which is pretty funny. They're going to make light of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you notice that goblin.
So here's an interactive Lego thing right here, as you were saying. If you can interact with it, you would think they would know.
Yeah, you would think they would spot that. You notice one of the dwarves there. It looks like he has his that hearing horn. In his hand here, the guy second from the right. So each character seems like they'll have their own specific tools and everything. Maybe that's used to solve some sort of puzzle.
Yeah, I really think the character design in this is actually pretty good. Like Bombur, you'll see him up close. I think in this following scene, it looks really great. Just looks like him in the movie with the braided beard. He's the fat guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
You notice also a ladle drops down. That was one of the bits of treasure in the previous games. But maybe in this game, it's actually a tool used by one of the
There's Beaufort back there. He looks good, too. This weird little hat. Did they do big action battle scenes in LEGO Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, there were a couple like this.
So it would be similar, where they actually have a bunch of characters on screen. Here's Thror fighting Azog.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
They started that, I believe, in the Lego Clone Wars game.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of sequences in that where you had to basically negotiate a battlefield and take bases and things like that. It was a little more strategic, a little bit like Dynasty Warriors, if you ever played that.
Okay. Yeah. It's great to be able to recycle, the shapes of bodies and polygons in this way and not feel bad about it because Legos all look the same.
But
here's maybe a power actually. So we don't know what's gameplay in this and and what's cutscenes, which is always kind of interesting with these Lego games. I think that's a plus and a minus, right? But here, maybe this is one of Gandalf's powers in gameplay. We can't really tell.
Yeah, it's not that different from what he was doing in LEGO Lord of the Rings. And I would even go a little bit further than you and say we're not even sure which of this is actually from the game that we'll be playing. I mean, there could be some sequences in here that are just funny just to get people in the mood, but don't represent any experience that you'll have
just
in
for
the game.
The trailer. Like this one, where they're carrying a giraffe through Bilbo's house.
Right. Carrots featured. Yeah, Carrots featured kind of prominently in the previous game, so it's nice to see.
Really?
And if you go back, you notice on the very, very far left, there's some cracks in the wall there.
Yep.
And that was from the LEGO Lord of the Rings game that came out previously. You need a strong character, somebody like Gimli, to break through those. So we are actually seeing some gameplay elements in these trailers.
Yeah.
It makes me think that this is actually the level we'll be playing in.
And Peter Jackson was a man eating a carrot in the very first opening scene of The Desolation of Smaug.
There's a thematic continuity to all this based on carrots. You think it's about the ring, but really it's about the carrots.
So here, Thorin has his dwarven sword before he gets Orcrist, the goblin cleaver. It's kind of funny. So he's going to change weapons. Look, here's a good shot where you can see all their various weapons and shields. Look at the shields that you can stick the Lego parts on. It's really
cool.
fun.
I really like this hammer carried by I forget the guy's name. He's very dour though in the movies.
I think that's glowing. Oh no! Sorry, you're talking about the guy with the tattoos on his head.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's Dwalin.
Gotcha. It says something about the movie that you could have 13 of those characters, and I can't tell the difference between them at all, except for one of them's fat and one of them's the king.
Here's this goofy scene again. I like that overshot of Gollum crawling at him. What does Gollum have on his back? Gollum, he has something that he can carry on there.
I think it's just to maybe attach a backpack.
It's a funny gag.
So the hobbits in the game, in the original game, were small enough to be able to access secret areas through tiny doors. So that's not exactly what that looks like in the game, but it's nice that they have that sort of idea that Bilbo can sneak through this tiny space and he leaves his hair behind.
See that axe on the horse back there? It's kind of cool. So I was asking you about this earlier. How do they handle rings in a game without fingers? And apparently they just go on their wrists.
Yeah, they sort of fit over the top of your hand. So if imagine yourself holding a teacup,
and
then there's a disc that's slightly bigger than the surface of your hand or the circumference of your hand.
Look at the light reflecting on the plastic of the Hobbit Lego figure. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's well done.
I mean, they do a great job setting the scene here. This is obviously the Goblin King in the big famous
and his big goiter there actually wobbles and flaps. Very un-Lego-like, but very true to the movie, which I think is great.
But yeah, so one thing we're not seeing in this are a lot of sequences from Desolation of Smog, which is the most recent movie. So
here's one right here. But you know why this one's in here? Is because this was in the very, very, very early trailer. So I think they were being very careful about what they put in this game's trailer because they don't want to spoil the movie or anything for anybody.
So
that's definitely from them. And we should say this game is going to cover both movies for sure.
Yes,
it covers right up to the end of the Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah. So. And these characters, we should just tell people that's Legolas and Tauriel, the new elf, who's sort of the female concession to the audience.
The only woman in the movie. Yeah,
played by Evangeline Lilly in the movie. And I thought a really great character, so it's nice to see her represented in the game as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Galadriel will be in this in some capacity too. I like this. Look at these Lego bunnies.
Yeah.
Think those will be for sale? I really like those Lego
I doubt it. This is Radagast. He's one of the other wizards in the world of Middle-earth. A friend of Gandalf and sometimes helps him out in the story.
And it looks like this is going to be some kind of over-the-shoulder race scene or something like that. They always have little kind of breakout, almost mini-game type scenes in these games.
And there are all the goblins swarming out during the caves.
This is odd right
Bomber
here.
is obviously carrying a pig.
With the giraffe before, now Bomber is carrying a pig out of the goblin caves, and just for comedic effect. And, these games do that. And of course, the trailer ends with actually the same ending as the very first Hobbit trailer.
I forgot that. Yeah,
with them being crushed by the Goblin King. But of course, in this trailer, they also get crushed by a washing machine and the pig.
And the pig.
Violent, so violent.
Absolutely.
Pig. And that pretty much wraps it up for this first trailer.
Well, Sam, thanks for sitting in with me.
Absolutely.
This is our rewind for LEGO The Hobbit. For everything Hobbit-related and everything pig-related while we're at it, you're already where you need to be, ign.com.
Thanks, everybody.